Very good evening. I'm Rahul Shivshankar. You're watching News Night, the show that puts you in the picture and the news in perspective. Full show for you tonight. Deaf to the nation's outrage. That's what it appeared when these two gentlemen, the Home Secretary of this country and the Delhi Police Chief, shared the stage and seemed to suggest that there was nothing wrong. They were completely in denial. Can there be change when women's rights are considered secondary? We're asking that question later on the show. Also coming up, exposed. Our netas double speak. Security for rapist netas, but not for our daughters. They get up in parliament, they speak on our behalf, they demand change, but when it comes to giving tickets, they don't discriminate between rapists and criminals. That's the double speak, and it's been exposed right here on the show. Also coming up, the shocking reality: sexism is okay. That's right, in India, sexist cops are punished and promoted. That's the sad reality. But first, the headlines. India is outraged and is taking to the streets demanding action. But the Union Home Secretary and the Delhi Police Chief still can't go beyond superficial fixes.
तो ये theoretically possible है, लेकिन practically हर बस को, हर ट्रक को, हर गाड़ी को रोककर चेक करना, कोई SOS, कोई ऐसा संकेत कभी मिलता रास्ते में किसी को, तो शायद उसको रोककर चेक किया, लेकिन ऐसा कोई संकेत नहीं मिला.
Massive outrage over the gang rape spills onto the streets. Thousands protest across the country demanding justice. Never before seen anger directed against politicians in this country. Free run for rapists in our country. But look what happens when protesters run for justice. Authorities manhandle a girl right outside Rashtrapati Bhavan, stopping her from protesting. Their double talk tonight stands exposed. They shed big tears in parliament. They protest, but their political parties actively harbor MPs and MLAs charged with rape. It's all being exposed tonight, the double speak. Sting operation unmasked rampant sexism in our police force, but the cops who were caught on camera aren't even punished. Follow-up investigation by Headlines today. Under pressure to show results, Delhi police finally arrest the sixth man from Aurangabad in Bihar. The rape accused is being brought to Delhi. The Delhi gang rape victim bravely battles all odds. Her undying spirit amazes doctors. Say they've never seen such grit despite unimaginable atrocities.
Well, I would say it is hugely or immensely brave girl she is, because she has withstood this kind of insult and injury.
The main accused in prison is thrashed by other prisoners for the gruesome crime. Supreme irony. In this country, a free run virtually for rapists. But when it comes to our turn to protest, we are muzzled. Look at these pictures from right outside Sonia Gandhi's residence. Policemen who should be out on duty patrolling the streets at a critical hour are crowding outside Sonia Gandhi's residence to do what? To stop these individuals, outraged citizens, our fellow brothers, from raising these issues with the Congress president. The Congress president who herself has intervened over the last few days seeking justice. But when these people, in a very peaceful manner, came and picketed her residence, demanding to see her, the full might of the police force that is now caught between the demands of the politicians and the outrage of the citizenry, find themselves pressed into acting against citizens who demand their rights. It's shocking. It's shocking that on the one hand, these free protests are being muzzled, and on the other, pious homilies are being uttered in our parliament by netas who willfully turn a blind eye to the need for law, legislation. They don't do anything to pass long pending rights bills to protect the interests of our women folk. But when it comes to quelling their voices, they're the first to act. This is the double standards. The government's might rather versus our rights. Our rights don't really matter. It doesn't come as a surprise. It doesn't come as a surprise because there is a culture of denial. These men are also deaf to the nation's outrage. Union Home Secretary and Delhi Police Commissioner, top officers still in denial. They're immune to the massive protests happening across the country. At least that is how it appeared today. Addressing a joint press conference in the capital, the two men were in awe of each other, it seemed, praising each other and not providing viable solutions. Their solutions were knee-jerk. The Union Home Minister came out and said that he had discussed with the police commissioner certain measures that needed to be enacted. He went on to say how charge sheets in this particular case that has shocked the nation was very quickly drawn up. He says, we will have an expeditious trial. Our request will be for a day-to-day trial and we will ask for maximum penalty. Then he went on to give a clean chit, in fact, to the Delhi police. Those are some of his comments. We put them out on your screens. He said the work was outstanding. Was the investigation prompt and effective? Yes, it was, says R.K. Singh, the Union Home Secretary. Many people today are chafing at this blithe disregard for public sentiment, this self-congratulatory tone that was adopted by our Union Home Secretary. Several of questions that were directed at both these individuals were parried or were taken on board but dismissed with blithe counter-suggestions. Can there ever be change when there is so much denial? What should have been done wasn't done. Lip service was paid tonight, make no mistake. We're opening that out. We're putting that question out not just to you viewers, and we're expecting you to call in, but also to our panel. Joining us, Tajender Luthra, Joint Commissioner of Police, Delhi, joins us in the studio. Neelam Katara, social activist, someone who has fought this bureaucrat, politician, police nexus to demand justice for her own son, is also with us. Malika Sarabhai joins us from Ahmedabad. She will be with us in another 10 minutes. Dr. Ajay Kumar, MP of the JVM, joining us. Also Kabir Bedi, actor, an activist, vocal commentator on social issues, joining us from Mumbai. Sudhindra Bhadoria, member of the BSP, joining us also in the studios. Let me begin with you first, Mr. Luthra. We've been looking at these pictures and we're going to put them out for you. The pictures of the Commissioner of Police seated to the right of the Union Home Secretary. Sometimes symbolism is everything, and today we saw it. The extent to which our government, Mr. Luthra, the extent to which our government perhaps doesn't want to relinquish control. We saw the Union Home Secretary presiding over a press conference which by all rights, and those are the pictures I'm referring to, they're on your screens. This press conference should have ideally been addressed by the police commissioner. But symbolism says a lot. I want to ask you a very straightforward question today. Did the police chief raise the question of splitting the police force in the capital and perhaps even across the country? I know that's probably beyond his jurisdiction, but specifically in the capital, to divorce it from VIP security? Did he raise that question?
You know, police force as an organization is one, and within one organization there are different wings or different departments. VIP security is one of them. Then we have law and order, then we have crime, then we have special branch, and we have district police also. So within one organization there are different wings, and each wing has its own demarcated duties.
Right. Let me just draw your attention to some figures. There are some figures that I have which seem to suggest that you have a situation where VIPs suck out of the system a lot of police officers, which should be out there on the streets protecting our daughters. Is this true? I just want to ask you a straightforward question. Is this true? Today, India is expecting straight answers. Tajender Luthra, I know that you're a committed police officer and it is in your duty to defend your force. But there is also a duty to the people you guard.
Of course, I have both the duties. I have duties to the people and I have duties to my department also. You know, VIPs are of course given security. For example, the figures are out of 83,000 constables and officers that we have in the police force, about 7,000 plus people are devoted to VIP securities. But the security...
To guard 2% of this city's population.
Okay, but the decision to provide these people security is taken after due assessment. There is a process and that process is followed, and that process has different phases.
Yes.
And it is a professional process, and after that process this assessment is done, and
so would
the
you
security
say, would you say that VIPs and the current arrangement is absolutely okay? It's not impinging on your policing duties. Would you say that in all honestness tonight?
You know, rather I would like to say, of course, we need more people on the street, we need more people on the thanas.
Okay.
But we should say that we need to increase the strength of people who should be manning the cities. Instead of saying that the security given to these people after due assessment should not be given.
Okay, Kabir Bedi, there is a suggestion that has been made. And we've got some statistics out on our screens. Population in Delhi 1.67 crore, only one cop available per 364 people. If you do the math, it comes down to that. Total strength of the Delhi police force 83,000, available for general policing 25,000. General policing 25,000. Vast swathes of this capital lie outside the VIP zones. They are pretty much left unguarded. I want to ask you a simple question, Mr. Bedi, tonight. Many people are saying that if the politicians really wanted to act on behalf of the people, they would make a magnanimous gesture. They would divest themselves of their own security and say, let those security personnel go back to doing what they should be doing, policing us, helping us, and protecting our daughters and children.
You know, even if all the VIPs give up all their security, it would not be a drop in the ocean.
Yes.
The problem that we have before us is immense. It's absolutely immense. And the fact of the matter is, in a country where there's one rape that is reported every 54 minutes, we've got a serious problem. And the fact is that a city like Delhi has more rapes than Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore and Hyderabad put together. So this is something which just a few VIPs giving up a few guards, 6,000-7,000 guards is not going to solve the problem. You have to look at a whole systemic change where, of course, you have the need for better policing, but then you need more policemen. You have fast-track courts, but then you need more judges. You want to sensitize policemen, you need more policemen.
And who would be doing that, Mr. Bedi?
A lot of things that need to be done, and let me
would
say
it not
this.
start from Parliament with legislation, with better enactment of legislation, with the passage of bills which our Parliament is sitting over?
You know, I do believe there are enough intelligent people in power who know what needs to be done. The question is, do they have the will to do it?
That's right.
Because to do it means taking this on as a national mission, a national cause, going out there and changing the mind, trying to change the mindset of of vast numbers of Indian men towards women, which is not just a matter of policing and courts and sensitizing. It's a matter of putting this in school curriculums, conducting major national campaigns on all the media, so that a message goes across of zero tolerance of violence against women. We will not accept that.
Neelam Katara,
that is the message that has to go out and permeate the consciousness of people before something changes.
Okay, Neelam Katara, do you believe there is will amongst our political class? I don't want to go on attacking the Delhi police, because a large number of people who have been tweeting us today have been saying that the police are stuck in the crossfire. Their hands are tied, and the symbolism was obvious tonight. You had the Home Minister of the country sitting side by side, almost minding the Delhi police chief, ensuring that he didn't say something that might show up the government.
Absolutely. Definitely there is no political will. Let's be very straight on this. And please remember that law and order, the police comes under as a state subject. The Supreme Court has issued directives on the basis of the recommendations of the various police commissions that police reforms are urgently needed. No state, as far as I know, has effected those reforms, and those reforms would immediately take away the police from under the control of the local politicians in a situation where even the constable is posted at the Chief Minister's office. I'm not talking about Delhi, because Delhi, of course, it's a story into itself, where it is the police is not even under the Chief Minister. But across the country, we need police acts, because at present the Indian Police Act
Free them of control.
1860, free them of control. I mean, there are 6 or 7 very good things there, that the head of the police will not be transferred for 2 years.
Absolutely.
So those reforms
that's a
are
very
brilliant.
important point. Let me bring in Malika Sarabhai.
No Chief Minister will be brave enough to effect those.
Malika Sarabhai, we're talking about will, political will, to break this nexus. But when you have political parties who give tickets to rapists, surely they will need the police force, Malika Sarabhai, on their side to protect these interests, these vested interests that are brought into the political system, to insulate them against the full weight of the law. This is a closed system, isn't it?
It is a closed system. It's also a system that considers that women's issues and women's safety is completely marginal and superfluous, because it doesn't bring in the short term either power or money, or gundaism for that matter. And as one of your former speakers just said, the changes that are needed are from the bottom to the top. The parliamentarians need to be gender sensitized. Anybody who is involved with either rape or molestation needs to be barred from any kind of public office. The police needs to be gender sensitized. The judges and the lawyers need to be sensitized. School and college teachers, principals need to be gender sensitized. Parents need to be gender sensitized, and every single curriculum needs to have something to do with not being a man, because being a man, those 3 words spell doom for women in any country. Being a man means be macho, don't cry, pummel them up, and so on and so forth, and that is the death knell.
Absolutely, that is the death knell. And we're going to be speaking to parliamentarians today. We have one parliamentarian with us, Dr. Ajay Kumar, who has also been in the police force. Dr. Ajay Kumar, many people today are asking questions, and we've just fired off a few graphics, and we're going to bring those graphics back, because they prove just how tightly woven the system actually is. On our screens are individual MLAs, netas, and MPs who are charged with rape. They're in our parliaments, in our legislatures. So when parliamentarians get up, when legislators in state assemblies get up, individuals such as yourself get up in parliament, they're not being very honest, are they? Speaking out against women's crime, but giving, on the face of it, tickets to criminals.
You know, first of all, Rahul, I want to say that there are bad parliamentarians, there are bad MLAs, there are good parliamentarians. So, you know, it's wrong to paint everybody in the same brush. But what Ms. Neelam Katara said is the crux of the issue. The moment you have an independent police force, you will have a lot of civil servants, a lot of politicians, a lot of corrupt corporates in prison. So the whole vested interest is not to ensure police reforms. That is the issue.
For that?
You see, if the police...
No, who do you blame for that?
So I believe... So the politicians and the
Great.
bureaucrats together.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad that you've had the gumption
one second,
tonight.
first let me.
I'm very glad you've had
and
the
I've been on
gumption
both sides.
tonight.
You see, one second.
Yes.
No, Ravi.
Yes.
Rahul, I've been on both sides. You see, I've been in the police and also I'm now a member of parliament from Jamshedpur. So I understand the pain, but this will never get fixed. Never ever get fixed unless you implement the police reforms. You will always do a band-aid kind of solution. Taking an example, you can never register an FIR in a police station. Try registering an FIR. It's impossible to register. Can you get it online, complaints online, and make sure it gets registered? Yes. Do we have the courage to do it? No, we don't want to do it because the state governments want to keep the police underfed, underprofessional,
Mr. Luthra,
and absolutely incompetent.
that's a parliamentarian speaking today, very frankly. And the people of this country want you to be frank tonight. Why didn't the Delhi Police Commissioner raise the issue of devolving the Delhi police from control from Delhi government, from the center, and give Delhi government control? Why didn't he raise that issue emphatically?
Let me explain. Rahul, this is a public policy issue. This is not an issue which we in the police can decide. This is a larger issue.
You can raise, you can point out.
There are ways to raise it.
This is a democracy.
And within the four corners of rules, conduct rules, we do raise it. There is no point that we don't raise it.
Honestly, tell me tonight. Honestly, tell me tonight. When you've raised it in the past, how amenable have the politicians been to this suggestion?
Rahul, I would again say this is a public policy issue and it has to be decided by the government.
Okay.
We as a department of the government, we cannot decide this issue.
But there is no fixing of accountability. You'd agree. There is a lacuna here. When there is a crime as heinous as the one that was committed a few nights ago in Delhi, you go to the Delhi Chief Minister and you ask her questions. She says the police force doesn't report to me. You go to the center, it's almost like going to a black hole. This needs to be fixed.
No, it is not so correct. Of course, Delhi police does not report to Chief Minister, but it does report to the Lieutenant Governor. And Lieutenant Governor in Delhi is the representative of the...
And there is a turf war.
No, there is no turf war. Lieutenant Governor is the representative of the union government in Delhi. So, police force reports to the Lieutenant Governor. And there is a fair system of check and balances.
Who is not accountable to the public in the direct sense of the term that Sheila Dikshit is? And that is really the problem, isn't it? His office is insulated.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Luthra has an unenviable task. After all, he's in uniform and he can't speak beyond the point. But we're going to have elections very soon in Delhi. Can any party say, the candidate come out and make this an issue that unless the Delhi police is with the Chief Minister Delhi, I will not take the seat of Chief Minister Delhi. Let that be an election issue.
It's a very important point. We're going to discuss that. We're coming back to Kabir Bedi. Right after that, we're talking about political will, a point that he made. We're also coming back to Sudhindra Bhadoria and Dr. Ajay Kumar to pick up from where Neelam Kachara left off. Stay with us. Don't go away. There were unprecedented protests, as you can see on your screens, all day today. Protesters even marched right up to the president's door. They crashed the gates. At some points, they were restrained. It's not been seen. Anger that was triggered after the brutal rape of a young woman a few days ago in the capital. Many of our politicians thought that they could get away with a bit of grandstanding, a few platitudes in parliament, and the anger would die down and we would move on to other bigger stories. But the people of this country are not forgetting. Sudhindra Bhadoria of the BSP with us. Sudhindra Bhadoria, your party's supremo, Mayawati, the other day got up in parliament and she lamented the fact that women are treated like second-class citizens. forgetting blithely that your party has given tickets to those with criminal records, those that are tainted with rape, forgetting conveniently that it's parliamentarians who are sitting over key legislations that could empower women. Mr. Bhadoria, isn't this rank double standards on the part of our netas, especially women leaders?
First, let me say this first, that the entire nation, body, mind, soul has been shocked by this barbaric
No, we
act
don't
of
need,
these
we don't need,
half-a-dozen men
we don't need
just the
more,
other day
we
in
don't
Delhi.
need more
Having
platitudes,
said
sir.
that,
I want you to answer my question. Why are there double standards, sir?
One moment. I am not giving platitude. Let me say this, that we belong to those marginalized social sections in this country who are the biggest sufferers of the brutality of this empowered people of this country, whether it is the Dalits. And let me also say this, that these women who come from the tribal areas and who work in the households of this big city like Delhi, Bombay and all, they are the biggest victims of the kind of rape which has been perpetrated.
Today, sir, you have won yourself political rights precisely for this reason. Today, you have won yourself political rights precisely to change the system, Mr. Bhadoria.
Coming to your answer.
You have won those political rights to change the system. You're abetting.
Yes.
You're abetting in a system which is closing its doors on women. That's the charge.
Let me speak, then I will answer your question. I have not completed. If you let me speak, then I'll answer your question. You see, the major opposition and the ruling party, they play politics with the people's issues, whether it is in the case of rape, the women's rights, whether it is the case of the Dalits or the STs or other poorer sections of this country, because they do not give them enough wealth, they do not give them enough
I'm sorry,
power
Mr.
that
Bhadoria.
they desire. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there is a point that I want to draw your attention to and the nation's attention to, just in case you've forgotten.
Yes, you're welcome.
Miss Mayawati is one of the most powerful politicians in this land. She has shown us that within days she can get this government to table a contentious bit of legislation. Why hasn't she done that with the case of the Women's Reservation Bill, with the bill that seeks to amend very loose rape laws in this country? I'm asking you a simple question.
You have seen, in spite of whatever limited strength we have, and when this bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha the other day, how the NDA, major party, BJP and the ruling party, the Congress party, they behaved in the parliament. If they really mean business, and let me say this, if they really mean business, let them call a round table. Let the criminals be prevented from contesting elections. If they do not, if they just want to play with words, then it is different. But if they really mean business, let them take serious steps and let them show the political will to act.
Okay, Mr. Kabir Bedi, what do you make of the statements that have been issued today by Mr. Bhadoria? Here is a party that is in an unenviable position to get work done in Parliament. This party, along with some others who hold perhaps the key to the government's survival, look away when some of these issues concerning women are brought up. Why is that? Is there an entrenched sexism in our members of parliament, in our MPs, in our political class? Is that the real reason?
Well, I think the political class can be quite proactive at times, but at other times I think it takes a crisis to make them act. And this is a crisis that has exploded with anger across India, and people are furious not just because of the barbarity of the rape that took place, but because of the pent-up frustration with the entire system that has failed to prevent women being assaulted in this country, in big towns, in small towns, in villages. And it's a systemic failure. It's a systemic failure because firstly there is the whole fear of social ostracism that prevents reporting, where the majority of rapes in this country are not reported. Then even those that are, face all the apathy of the existing police structure, the insensitivity, and then finally the courts. Our
Yes.
rate of conviction of rapists is so abysmal that one has to think 10 times before even filing a rape complaint, because you don't know that this is going to reach a conclusion, either because of the sheer length of the trial, or because inherent corruption within the police department, or because relatives force people to withdraw complaints. So there is a systemic problem that we have here,
Okay.
of a problem that is massive, that needs to be dealt with, and
Fine.
dealt with on the basis of a national emergency,
Malika
almost
Sarabhai.
as if the country were going to war.
Okay,
Then
a
something will
point
happen.
well made. Malika Sarabhai, let me quickly come to you. Malika Sarabhai, we've had burning issues in the recent past. The issue of corruption, it united this country. There were similar protests all through this country on the issue of corruption. It failed to move the people who matter most, our legislators. Once again, I'm asking you the question, are there too many entrenched lobbies? Are there too many common running interests that prevent our political class from acting?
Rahul, haven't you been hearing over the last few elections, and I'm talking of the Gujarat election as much, that it's only the winnability of a candidate that determines whether he or she is given a ticket. It's not their corruption, it's not whether they have cases against them, it's not whether they have rape cases against them, it's not how they behave, it's not how stupid they are, it's only if it's winnability. So of course it's entrenched interest that is stopping all of this happening, of course.
Sudhindra Bhadoria, can I ask you a question on the back of what Malika Sarabhai said? You blamed every other political party. You blamed every other big political party, let me stand corrected, for not passing legislation. But you can begin by getting your own party president to sack some of these criminal MPs in your ranks and MLAs in your ranks that you've given tickets to. And their names we have been putting out on our screens. At least that is in your power. Mr. Bhadoria, I've asked you a simple, straightforward question. Can you commit to this tonight?
I can't see them. I can't see one. Let me answer this question of yours by saying this. She's the only leader who has arrested MPs from her party, who has put ministers who are caught in serious criminal act in jail, who has also punished all kind of, and let me tell you, she has given a directive whenever she comes to power to the police and to the other officials to take the most stringent measures against all those people who are
You're not answering my question.
May I remind
Neelam
Bhadoria,
Katara is wanting to rebut you. Neelam Katara is wanting to rebut you. Neelam Katara is wanting to
and we
rebut
know
you.
who we are talking about. Your leader enrolled one MLA for one seat, somebody who had 9 murder charges, 6 attempted murder, then who even today is facing a murder trial in a CBI
Name
court.
the person.
No, he
Name
knows
the
who I'm
person.
talking about.
Let's confront him.
Yeah, and he said, and she's,
We're in
no,
the
wait a
business
minute,
tonight.
wait a minute.
We're in the business
She
tonight
said,
of
wait a
naming
minute.
and exposing.
She said, unka, no,
I know for certain that she means business and she acts.
Wait a minute,
in
Mr.
the most
Bhadoria, she said
manner.
उनका
These are
हृदय
the
परिवर्तन
only
हो गया
leaders
है.
in
She
this
said
country.
उनका
She
हृदय
is one
परिवर्तन
leader
हो
who
गया
acts
है.
in the
जब वो
most
दूसरी
strongest
पार्टी में
manner
थे तब वो
against
क्रिमिनल
people
थे.
who-
Mr. Bhadoria, there's
हमारी
no point.
पार्टी में
There's no
आके
point.
उनका हृदय परिवर्तन हो गया है और पिछला सब छोड़ते हुए उन्होंने कहा अब अगर कुछ गलत काम करेंगे तो हम निकालेंगे. मैंने इसकी भुक्त भोगी हूँ.
Going to go by I know Neelam Katara. I have all my support for whatever has happened and we have been supporting her cause.
By
But let me
enrolling
say
DP
this,
Yadav,
that
by enrolling
she
DP Yadav in
is
DSP.
vis-a-vis all other political
Yeah,
leaders.
by
She acts in
enrolling
the most
by
firm
enrolling DP
manner.
Yadav
You
in
may accept
DSP
this
for
or
one
not,
seat
it is
so that he
different.
could torture my witnesses.
Mr. Bhadoria, you've been exposed tonight. You've been exposed tonight
We have
by
expelled him
an
also from
upright
the party.
individual.
We have expelled
By
him
an
from the
upright
party.
individual.
So, if DP Yadav is one person, there are hundreds of DP Yadav.
I agree.
Mrs. Katara,
I
there is
agree.
not one
I am
DP
not,
Yadav.
I am not
There is
We are
denying
not
that.
denying that.
But
We
your
are not
hands
denying
are
that.
not clean either. But
No,
your hands
Mr.
are not
Bhadoria,
clean.
Mr.
I am
Bhadoria, we are
saying
not denying that.
Every party,
We are not denying
party
that.
is encouraging criminals.
Every party is encouraging criminals. I'm asking you a simple question tonight. Mr. Bhadoria.
represent the most vulnerable sections of
Mr.
society in
Bhadoria,
this country.
here is a golden opportunity. for some statesmanship, not only on your part, but on the part of other politicians just like Miss Mayawati. Why don't they come out tonight, today perhaps, and stand up and say that they will throw out all those MPs and MLAs in their ranks that have charges of rape and other crimes against women against their names? Why don't they do that? I'm asking you a simple general question.
I think it is very unfair on your part. It is very unfair on your part not to put the blame on the government, on the major opposition, and to bring this blame on smaller parties like
I think
this.
the viewer is listening.
I take serious objection to
I think
this,
the viewer
because
is
if you
listening.
really mean, if there would,
Mr. Bhadoria, I think the viewer is listening
he should
tonight.
have been blamed, and you put the entire blame.
Mr.
We have
Bhadoria.
20 MPs in the parliament.
Okay, let me
and
go
you put
across
the
to Dr. Ajay
responsibility
Kumar.
of
He's another
540
MP.
MPs
Let
on
me
us.
go across
It's
to
not a
Dr.
fair
Ajay
thing.
Kumar. Dr. Ajay Kumar, let me ask you this. As a member of parliament, can we expect you perhaps to write a letter to all other leading lights of other political parties and say, let's make a compact here, a pact here for the people. Let's begin by expelling all the rotten apples within our ranks so that we begin by setting an example for the others to follow.
You know, Rahul, I can do that tomorrow itself, and I'll mark you a copy. So that's the easiest, and I commit that we will.
We're going
I
to
will
take
do
you
it
up on
tomorrow.
that.
Yeah, and I'll mark your copy, so you'll have it immediately. But the issue again is, you know, the issue which Madam Katara has said is that is the crux. We need to get the police out of the political bureaucrat control and keep it independent under a supervisory body which has retired judges, citizens, you know, representatives, and this will never happen. Because then, you know, there will be honest investigation, and it will actually be a big threat to the existing structure.
Okay, you know, we understand that. It's a
That is the whole
well-meaning
issue.
suggestion. No, that's a very well-meaning suggestion.
So, no,
but who will take that first step? That's the central question tonight.
Rahul, one sec. But we can push the envelope by ensuring that we get complaints registered online.
Okay.
So that it is mandatory, because one of the commonest cause of crime is because of non-registration of FIRs. If you look at all these guys, I'm sure they must have committed a crime which was never registered.
But we are looking tonight for one gesture. We are looking tonight for one gesture.
So I'll send you an email.
We are looking tonight for that one gesture that will prove to the people out there that our legislators mean business. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come right back. I'm going to ask Malika Sarabhai, Neelam Katara, Kabir Bedi and the other panelists what that one gesture according to them could be. We're coming back in just about 3 minutes. Don't go away. Well, unprecedented anger, and it's not dying down. If anything, these mass protests are gathering force. There's the evidence on your screens right behind me. Hundreds and thousands of protesters today outside of India Gate. They've been there from 9 in the morning, braving the cold, braving the elements to get this system to wake up. That's the big takeaway from the incidents of the last few days. India is learning to say enough is enough. And we're asking our panel tonight a singular question, because we want to leave here with a sense of having got something done. Mr. Kabir Bedi, according to you, what is that one? I'm asking for just one actionable step that can be taken immediately to demonstrate that things can change.
Rahul, while it's important to have symbolic gestures like not having criminals or rapists or people charged with that in Parliament, it does not change the reality on the ground. To change the reality on the ground, it's almost like the government has to put up like an empowered group of ministers or a task force like run by various ones run by Sam Pitroda. So there's a national mission that is decided on and set in motion and executed, so things change on the ground, from the police to the judiciary, to creating a climate where women feel more secure in this country, And that is the key thing, that
Okay.
empowered people put in motion measures that work.
Set up an EGOM. Set up an EGOM to immediately precipitate, galvanize the various arms of the government to pass laws and legislation. Valid suggestion. Let me come across to Dr. Ajay Kumar. Dr. Ajay Kumar, the one actionable move on your part that could restore confidence tonight.
One is, no, like what Mr. Bedi said, you know, you don't need a group of ministers to restart the whole thing. There's adequate report on police reforms and judicial reforms. Just implement it. Just implement the police reforms and judicial reforms in spirit and letter. And the most important thing is to get the citizens the right to register a complaint online. And somebody supervises so that every complaint online gets is registered as an FIR.
Okay. How about calling
If
a
you do
special
that
session?
single thing.
How about calling a special session of Parliament to get some of these pending legislations through? What do you think about that?
No, I think that's a great idea, but you know, at the end of the day, it's wonderful, and so there is no debate on this, Rahul, you know, whether we should get these things done quickly, but I've seen things, you know, very often, and so I'm not going to get disappointed or defeated,
Right.
but there is adequate recommendations which just need to be implemented.
Okay.
Just
Begin by
implement the police
implementing
reform.
recommendations. Perhaps the beginning can be made by allowing for online registration of complaints. Malika Sarabhai, I'm coming to you next. What, in your opinion, is that one step?
Fast-track courts to instantly punish the people who are involved in these crimes and to allow chemical castration of convicted rapists.
Very important point, because that actually brings about in the mind of criminals or those that are intending to commit crimes a certain amount of deterrence. Let me come to you, Tajender Luthra. What, in your opinion, is the one thing you'd like to promise the nation tonight?
Rahul, before coming to that one measure that would like to commit, I would like to tell you, and I'm not saying this to take any credit, but our teams have worked very hard in this case. This case was a blind case. Our teams worked day and night, and very shortly they have arrested
Now, I
all
just
the
want to
accused.
say, there were 8 other cases on page 3 of a newspaper that I read,
Rahul,
which made my skin crawl, and all of them were from Delhi. So it's not just
Rahul,
about that one
Rahul,
case.
yes,
Yeah.
you're right. But I'm not saying this to take any credit. I'm only saying this to assure the people at large that we are committed to serve this society honestly, sincerely and diligently, because we feel we are accountable to the democratic society
So
that
what's
we are
that one
serving.
measure?
So one measure I would be taking, that zero tolerance about women crime. Any complaint we receive, we must act on it as a zero tolerance measure.
So basically what Dr. Ajay Kumar has been saying, that it's very difficult for anyone to really go into a police station and be taken seriously. You're going to change that culture.
Of course. In fact, the whole idea of creation of PCR is that you don't need to go to the police station. You ring up 100 and the police station comes at your doorstep.
Okay. Ms. Qatar.
Rahul, I'll say two. One, of course, Mr. Ajay Kumar has already said, police reforms, judicial reforms, electoral reforms. Anyone charged, and I'm not talking about proven guilty of a heinous crime, should not be allowed to contest in the public space till he clears his name. 5 years, if these people stay out of the parliament or the legislative assembly, there are enough people without charges in this country. The second thing, as a symbolic gesture, could all members of parliament in Delhi start using public transport, at least when going to the parliament, so that the people know that they want to share their space.
Want to share their space. Very, very important. Very constructive, perhaps. Sudhindra Badoria, I'm coming to you. Leave you with the last word.
I think this is a very positive suggestion which has come from some of the members who've been on this debate. But let me say this, we need a two-pronged attack on the kind of criminality which is sometimes perpetrated on women. We need at the level of state and as well as the level of society, because we know there are cases, for instance in Kerala, there was a case where a father was raping his own daughter for 2 years and the mother had to bring this whole issue to the police.
No, but what
and
is
to
that
the,
one actionable step?
The knowledge of the school. So therefore we need to act firmly and also at both levels.
Now, as a representative
And
of a
at the level
political
of
party,
state, we need that immediate steps be taken so that...
now, what is that one step, sir? What is that one step? I was half hoping
You see, as
that
far
you would
as
tell me,
you made
that you
one
would assure
suggestion that
me.
we could-
Now, I was half hoping that you
The
would
one
assure
step
our
is
viewers out
that
there.
radical reform, yes, the one...
Yes, go ahead.
We need radical reforms so that criminals cannot be coming into the parliament and legislatures. And let me say one thing, that you want an immediate session. There are political parties which prevent any debate. So therefore, this suggestion will only...
Well, Parliament is shut
when
right now.
The government in there will be serious about holding
Mr.
a
Bhadoria,
serious debate.
Parliament is shut and no one can stop. No one can stop your leader and other leaders,
Yeah,
if
no,
they
that
really
is
have
all
the
right,
will
that
to
is
come
all
out
right,
tomorrow
but
and say, I am demanding,
but
I am
whenever
demanding
the parliament will
a
be
joint
convened,
session of
they will
parliament, a
resort to-
special
you
session
see,
of
whenever the
parliament
parliament is convened-
to get these bills passed. I was half hoping that you would perhaps say that. I was half hoping that you would perhaps say that. You had a golden opportunity. You had a golden opportunity this night
We
to convince...
do not have enough strength. I think there is already a serious party, a major
Okay.
party which has made this suggestion. I hope both the ruling party and the major opposition, the BJP, come forward and take positive steps in
Well,
the
it's not too late.
suggestion that you have made.
It's not too late. Thanks indeed, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on this show tonight. We're bringing the curtains down on News Night, but the protests are continuing. Center stage among the protesters. Questions will be put to the Delhi Police Commissioner by protesters and those of you seeking answers. Stay with us.